Announced that Walgreens would acquire in-store pharmacies last week. Locally owned pharmacies started getting calls from customers wanting to switch. Tonight we take a look at how those independent pharmacies are now responding to both customers and pharmacy workers.
The number one thing we hear is they're really upset and disappointed.
Sonny Cresdorn is the owner of Rose City Pharmacy in Tyler, a business he started back in 2017 after a decade of working for a big-name pharmacy.
Kind of relevant to this story today. I did work for a chain pharmacy for quite a long time. I worked for Walgreens for 10 years.
Following last week's announcement that Brookshire's pharmacies would become Walgreens pharmacies, Cresdorn says his phone started ringing with calls from people not wanting to make the switch.
When you come to the pharmacy here, I'm your pharmacist. I'm also the CEO and the president. So almost everybody that transfers to us, even before this situation, it's always been a thing where, they'll transfer in and then go, it's so much better. I wish I'd have done this sooner,
Cresdorn's pharmacy is just one of the many locally owned pharmacies now welcoming customers not wanting to make the transition. Last week, the owners of Tyler's Brick Street Pharmacy posted this video to Facebook.
We've had calls from both patient community base as well as professionals who are looking to what options they may have so that they can stay local and in the community to serve.
The professionals mentioned are people currently employed by Brookshire's pharmacies. Employees concerned by this part of the Brookshire's announcement, in which the company said a select few pharmacy locations will close. Going on to say both companies are committed to finding employment opportunities for substantially all eligible pharmacy employee partners.
Now, we did reach out today to Brookshire's with several questions. Among them, when will this transition happen? They say both companies, Brookshire's and Walgreens, expect the transaction to be complete sometime this year.